To another Tackle Tuesday. This week saw the return of the men's Premiership, and for this week we have chosen to focus on the first half of Musselburgh versus Kelso in what was an exciting 31-all draw. So as always, we have 3 clips which we'll take you through, and we'll just talk about some of the decisions and techniques that we're seeing in line with the new tackle height law trials. So this first clip, there's 3 aspects to this, and it's kind of symptomatic of the nature of the game. So here the referee does a great job. There's 3 different elements of the tackle height law trials in play. So we'll kind of play it through and I'll describe what's happening. So first of all, we have a pick and go from the 7, and then a tackle. And as we move into phase play, we have a double tackle on the ball carrier. So a really dynamic clip, but something that the referee deals really well with. So we'll start with the pick and go. So here, as I pause it there, we see from the base of the rock, the Musselburgh 7 picks the ball up and then moves immediately forward. Under the law trials, a pick and go isn't subject to the below sternum tackle height. We've made the decision to allow the tackler to use the previous line, which lined the shoulders, to make that tackle. So we can here we can see the first Kelso defender make contact below the line of the shoulders. Again, the rationale being that due to the low start position and also the lower kind of forces from a standing start, for example, that it's a much safer area of the game. So here we see really good application of this mitigation, and the referee rightly plays on. As we move into the next play, we see the winger here, number 14, drag the Musselburgh player down to the ground and attempt to jackal. So even though contact was made above the line of sternum, it's not an attempted tackle, and his intention is to pull the ball carrier to ground and then try to steal the ball. Here we see a great clear out by the Musselburgh number 6 to prevent him doing so. And the final component, we see a strong ball carry in the midfield by the Musselburgh lock, and we see a double tackle. Now the key things here, and the referee sees this really well, is that the first tackle is above the line of the sternum. The second tackler actually does get their body height down, but here we see a great decision by the referee to effect a high tackle. And key things to look out for here are that the ball is a great indicator to a referee, and also if you're a coach, work with players as a kind of a point to kind of focus on. So anything below the ball, on the whole, you're going to be okay. Anything on or above the ball, that would be probably a trigger to match officials that the tackle could be high. And we see the penalty effected for the high tackle there. So just to reiterate, a pick and go. The tackler does initiate contact above the sternum, but as mentioned, with a pick and go, the line of the tackle is the line of the shoulders for the reasons described earlier. So the decision here is to play on. A drag and jackal, again, initial contact is above the base of the sternum, but as we see here, the Kelso 14 is using his hands to pull the ball carrier to ground to attempt a steal at the breakdown. And again, therefore, no attempted tackle has been made. The decision also is to play on. And finally, the double tackle. The primary tackler, as you can see from this still, initial contact is above the base of the sternum, but not on the head. The secondary tackler actually does quite a good job to get below the ball. There isn't any mitigation. The ball carrier remains upright the entire time, so there's plenty of opportunity for the defender to get their tackle height down, and rightly it was a decision to blue. This next clip just shows the dynamic nature of the ball carrier and how match officials and players are dealing with this. So I'll play the clip through. So as you can see here, a really dynamic clip. So first bit, a great bit of play from Musselburgh, moving the ball wide to exploit the space in the channels. Winger shows some good pace here, and following a tap tackle from the Kelso winger, shows incredible athleticism to regain his feet after going to ground. Now what this does mean in this position here, that the ball carrier is in an extremely hinged position. The covering defender isn't able to get low enough, but because of the speed of which everything happened, makes a probably the right call to kind of try and also almost wrestle the player to ground. Key thing here is that the head is away from the 15's head is away from the Musselburgh winger's head, and even though contact is initiated above the sternum, there's very little that the defender could have done in that situation due to the pace of the play. So as you can see here, tackle is above the base of the sternum, but there's mitigation that the ball carrier is in an extremely hinged position due to the previous action of him effectively doing a somersault to get back onto his feet, and rightly, the decision is no penalty. The final clip here is a break by Musselburgh, and again we'll play it through and just chat through some of the decisions. So we see a half-line break, great offloading game, and then an attempted rip. So we'll talk about a few things at play here. So first of all, great bit of play by the Musselburgh centre, I think, to carry strongly. We do see an attempted tackle by Black 6 here, which could be deemed as high. Initial contact is made above the line of the shoulder, but in this case, the decision is made to play on as the ball carrier effects an effective offload. As we move through, another great offload to get in behind the defence further. We see a really effective low tackle here, cover tackle here, and in this situation, the covering defender, the Kelso 14, has a decision to make. So as an assist tackler, they can either leave the play, look to make a tackle, and in this case, looks to make an attempted rip. So I'll play it full speed and we'll look at it in slow motion in a wee bit so we can see some of the decisions in play. So as you can see, it's an attempted rip. I'll just move back slightly. The decision here is to play on. So as we move through the play, the first contact is with the hands, trying to rip the ball in a reef motion. Now, whilst he does go over the ball with his arms, there isn't a risk of shoulder contact, because even despite still here, the 14 is actually moving backwards throughout this entire play. So he's actually passive. Now, a better pitch would potentially to look to hold up underneath the ball to paint that pitch to the match officials, but in this one, the referee gets it spot on. And as he moves backward, tries to rip the ball, but is unsuccessful. So key things here is that the Kelso 14 goes in with his hands, isn't active in his motion, as in he's not stepping with force. He's actually looking to absorb the ball carrier and rip as he's going backwards. So the decision here is to play on. So here, just to see for clarification, yes, there's contact made above the base of the sternum, but it's an attempted rip with the arms, and he's passive in his movement, as in not being active. He's actually moving backwards. So the decision here is to play on. So that's the clips for this week. We have a number of workshops coming up, as you can see on the screen here. Now these workshops are for coaches, and they will go through components of the tackle, looking at how we train approach, physical preparation, connection and decision making around the assist tackler. So it's well worth making a note of these workshops and to get onto Scrums or the website to find them, and we'll put a link in the YouTube descriptor. And as always, you can find more information on the Tackle Height Hub on the website by scanning this QR code. Enjoy your week of rugby, and we'll be back next week for another analysis of Tackle Tuesday. Cheers.